European ministers are to hold emergency video talks on Tuesday after more than 50,000 people entered Spain's North African territory of Ceuta from Morocco. The leaders of 22 EU countries had called for a meeting, citing the need to prevent further uncontrolled crossings. The majority of those who entered the territory have now voluntarily returned to Morocco, and the authorities say normality is being resumed. At least 67 people died, many of them drowned trying to swim around the border. But the political fallout is rippling across Europe. Spain's Prime Minister has denounced what he called the selfish attitude of some members of the European Union. It comes after Italy suspended the EU's border-free Schengen arrangements with Spain for a month. Barry Caffrey reports.
After the chaos of recent days, relative calm, but the consequences of a mass crossing of around 60,000 people into this small Spanish territory in North Africa are only just beginning. The migrants entered Ceuta on Thursday in the space of around 24 hours. Local officials said nearly all of them had since returned to Morocco. There's been widespread condemnation from European politicians. Some criticism has involved concerns over the Schengen area, an agreement which eliminates border checks and now encompasses more than 450 million people and 29 countries in Europe. Italy suspended its Schengen agreement with Spain for a month. The country's foreign minister said the government supported legal migration while opposing irregular entry.
The government defends our borders and national security in accordance with European regulations and in line with other European Union countries.
Finland, France and Portugal have all said they were either looking at or considering border checks. Floating barriers like this one have been installed to try and prevent a repeat of Thursday's incident. And while the majority of those who crossed have now gone back to Morocco, the territory's leader says things are not yet back to normal.
There
are still several thousand people in Ceuta who must be returned, and the mood among the population of Ceuta remains marked by unease and concern.
The number of people confirmed to have died during the rush over the border is 67. That figure is expected to rise further as specialist divers search the sea. The European Union will hold emergency talks on Tuesday to discuss the migration crisis in Ceuta. 22 member states issued a joint letter calling for coordinated action, as well as for the strengthening of the EU's external borders. Barry Caffrey, BBC News.
These are some live pictures coming to us from Ceuta. It's looking at a much quieter scene this Sunday morning. Spain clearly taking steps to make sure that a mass influx doesn't take place again. It's planning to install a 500-metre floating barrier in the sea to stop people swimming around the border fence. And the area is also being patrolled by Civil Guard vessels. We saw one of those vessels just a moment ago on that live shot. But looking like a quieter picture this morning. And Spain has said that most of those migrants who came in from Morocco on Thursday have now voluntarily returned to Morocco. Well, Stephen Zunis, Professor of Politics and Programme Director for Middle Eastern Studies at the University of San Francisco, he's written about Spanish-Moroccan geopolitics. He explained to me that the possible reasons behind that influx of people to Ceuta.
Primarily because Morocco appears to have allowed it. Indeed, they may have encouraged it. I mean, there were lorry loads filled with young men that were being sent right up to the frontier with the Spanish territory. Moroccan guards, which usually keep things pretty closed, open the gates. And so it appeared to be an effort to put some pressure on the Spanish Prime Minister, presumably having something to do with his recent visit to Algiers. Of course, Algeria is a major geopolitical rival of Morocco, and they're perhaps getting a bit nervous about the thawing relations between those two countries.
And bring us also some of the broader geopolitical context of Morocco's relationship with the US and Israel and how that might have played into this.
Well, both the United States and Israel have a lot of bad feelings about Sanchez. The United States because Spain is not paying up as much as Trump is ordering them to in terms of military spending. but particularly because the Spaniards are not allowing U.S. military bases or even their airspace to be used in any way to support the Iran war. Israel, meanwhile, of course, is quite upset at Spain's strong support for Palestinian rights. And we've had, interestingly, pundits and politicians close to these the Israeli and American governments in recent months have been pushing for the idea of Morocco seizing the two presidios. So while I haven't seen evidence to suggest that the United States and Israel pressured Morocco to do this, as some people are speculating, certainly Morocco felt somewhat emboldened, given the poor relations of these two close allies of theirs to Spain, to engage in such a provocative action.
And it was interesting that Spanish Interior Minister noticeably didn't criticise Morocco yesterday. How are they going to go about rebuilding the relationship to prevent this kind of thing happening again?
Well, things are pretty sensitive. Morocco's actually done this before. In 2021, after Spain allowed the president of Western Sahara, the former Spanish territory that Morocco largely occupies at this point and claims for their own, to visit Spain, Morocco opened the floodgates and allowed at least 10,000 Moroccans to pour into the territory. And indeed, Morocco's been holding over Spain's head a threat of opening things up even wider. It's only like 18 kilometers across the strait between Morocco and Spanish territory. And they've tried to use this to extort concessions from the Spanish government on economic issues, a number of things, including Spain renouncing its long-term support for Western Sahara self-determination to back Morocco's dubious autonomy plan for the territory, which would preclude a referendum on self-determination. And of course, when you do have big migrant waves like this incident, even though it did not get to the European continent, it tends to hurt left of center governments. It tends to embolden the far right. And so the Spanish government has to tread lightly when they're dealing with Morocco.